Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Matt from SnusCENTRAL.org and SnusTV.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new accessory for your Swedish snus, and that is the DUS aluminum slim can from DUS. So let's take a look at this thing in a little bit closer detail. I'll share my thoughts, show you the quirks, and show you how it stacks up to some other offerings that are on the market. So here we go, guys. Stick around. Taking a look at the DUS packaging, this is a really nicely presented can. Look at this. I mean, yeah, it is a thick, huge box. Here's a size comparison with an ice tool box here. So you can definitely tell that this is a huge presentation package, but I gotta say, this would be perfect if you're giving it as a gift or sitting it up on a shelf for a display. This is really, really cool. So you have a slip cover here with the DUS logo and the 3 tobacco leaves, the aluminum designating that it's an aluminum can, and the slim size designating that it's a slim can. So slim size aluminum DUS can. On the back, you have their website and their address. So, you can tell them how much you like the product, or if you have any issues with it in the future, you can let them know and give them some feedback. So really cool. Underneath of the slip cover is a nice jewelry-like box, and this has some really cool texturing on it, as well as the DUS logo in a small silver leaf font, again with that 3 tobacco leaves. I really like that. Yeah, that's pretty plain and simple. And as you guys know, I'm a really big sucker for presentation. I like stuff that's very simple and, not too flashy. But in this, hats off to DUS. They did this perfectly, I gotta say. Opening this up, you're still not at the can. You have a protective foam layer on the top. There's your can there with a protective plastic cover. And on the inside, you can see that it's set inlaid inside of the box with foam around it. So it protects it from damage against shipping and just makes it, again, a little bit nicer of a presentation box. So enough of the box. Let's set this off to the side. And look at the can. So looking at this can, first glance, I was like, man, this is really nice looking. It's all aluminum, which is a raw aluminum look, and you have a bead blast finish, which gives it a little bit of a texture and will show less scratching over time, which is really nice. The can itself has no catch lid, so it's going to be nice and slim and easy to fit into a pocket, and really nice chamfered edges too. So it's going to slide in and out of the pocket really nicely. On this side, you have no texturing, again, to make it really easy to slip in and out of the pocket. And a thumb indentation, or a fingernail indentation. So that's really cool too. This reminds me of the ice tool can, which we will compare in a minute here. Look at that, really cool. Now the one thing that I noticed taking this out of the package, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's really nice and clean. There's no logos on it. But I was wrong. Flipping this over, the DUS logo is very nice. It's small, but it's on the back side, which was confusing at first, because if you look at an ice tool can, the logo's on the top, to where the DUS is going to be on the bottom. So I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, wait a minute, okay, so if that's on the bottom, because at first I thought this was the top, let's open it up. So when I opened it up, wait, no, that is the bottom. So the DUS logo is indeed on the bottom of the can. But popping this open, you can see that it's a really nice, durable construction. This is about the same thickness as an ice tool can. It's a little bit thinner in the aluminum, but very nicely done. No sharp edges on the insides at all. Very nicely well-rounded and chamfered. And if you look at the seal, it does indeed have a rubber gasket that runs the full length of the inside. This will keep your snus nice and fresh, keep moisture out, and really just keep the flavors really nicely sealed inside, much like a coffee container. So really cool. Very similar to an ice tool can. Let's look at the capacity on this guy. So the capacity, I have a brand new can of Knox here, Knox original portion. These are right around 1 gram portions each, and there's 24 portions per can in this snus. So let's pop that open and throw some in here. So let's count them out. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm sort of throwing these in here. And I'm not going to cram these in here either. I want to make sure that, you know, you get a realistic view if you're just throwing these in here. 8, 9, 10, getting a little full here. 11, 12, 13, 14. You could fit a little bit more in here, but realistically, I don't like to cram my ice tool cans or snus accessory cans that full. So let's just keep it at that. So about 13 to 14 portions realistically in this can for an original portion sitting at about 1 gram. So if you go with a slim snus, you could fit a lot more in here. But let's just keep it at that. So very easy to shut. You don't have any, spacing. Very nicely done. The machine work is phenomenal on this can, I gotta say. But there are some quirks, and we'll get to that in a minute. But let's compare this to my all-time favorite snus can, which is the ice tool can. How does that compare? Well, let's take a look at it. Width-wise, they are very similar. The DUS can, believe it or not, is a fraction of a millimeter slimmer than the slim can from Ice Tool. If you do this dimension here. Now, if you add in the dimple or the concave portion of the can, they're about the same. But the height-wise, the DUS can is a little bit slimmer, and that's by a fraction of a millimeter. So really not too much difference there on the width. As you can see, the chamfering on both of them are very similar as well. The ice tool can maybe is a little bit deeper or, a little bit different than the DUS can. But they're virtually identical as far as circumference and width. So very, very similar, guys. Now, as you can tell, the difference between these two, and I think Ice Tool has a copyright on their design. So DUS had to make a flat top and bottom on their can, to where Ice Tool has a really nice concave on either side. So it makes it just a little bit, thinner in the pocket on the top and bottom. The thumb indentations, let's take a look at those. So the fingernail nicks. As you can see on the Ice Tool can, it's a little bit wider and narrower, where the DUS can is a little bit shorter and a little bit deeper. Other than that, they're pretty darn similar. Now, the one question I know you guys are probably asking yourselves right now is, since these are so close, can you mix and match parts? And indeed, you can. So you can actually take apart these two cans, or any other Ice Tool cans you might have, and swap parts out. So I could throw the top onto the bottom of the Ice Tool can and give it a different look. That's really cool looking, guys. Or vice versa. Take the top of the Ice Tool can and have a dual branded snus can. Really neat stuff. And the seals on them are virtually identical as well, so you're not going to have any issues with, spoiling of the snus or anything like that. And if you wanted to, you could probably switch around these seals. That way, if one breaks or something like that, you have spare parts. So really, really cool. Now that aside, there are some quirks to this can that I want to mention real quick, and that is the finish. Now, while this has a nice bead blasted finish, there are some differences to it. So, as you can see, you can see the mill marks on this bottom of the DUS can, to where it's nice and finished on the top. And I don't know if that's because they, in the warehouse, if they assemble these like tops and bottoms and they make them, they really don't care, they really don't match them up as well. But you can see the difference between the bottom, see the rings, and the top. Also, you can tell that the bottom of the can and the top of the can are not the same finish. They're both bead blasted, but this has a more pronounced bead blast on the top than it does the bottom. So this is more shiny to where this is more matte. Other than that, it's a really nice can. For right around $8 to $10 difference between Ice Tool and DUS, you really can't complain. If you want a budget-friendly DUS can to beat up on at work, or if you're really budget-minded, this is a great can to go with. If you want something a little bit more dressy in the fit and finish, or the finishing, I should say, is a little bit better, I'd go with the Ice Tool can. But virtually, these two are identical in width, in quality. The aluminum is a little bit thinner on the DUS, but they still feel very, very tough. It's really close, really close as far as everything on this can. The other quirk on this is that, the DUS logo is on the bottom. So if, you take this out of your pocket and you see this DUS logo and you already have an Ice Tool can, make sure to flip that DUS can over when you open it up, so that way you don't spill your snus all over the place. So that's another thing I wanted to mention. But yeah, that was a quick look and comparison at the DUS can and the Ice Tool can. Let me know down below in the comment section what your thought is between the two and which one you like better. I would say personally, if you want to give this one a shot, go ahead and do it. It's a really nicely built can and something that you could really beat up on, and it'll show less scratching on over time too. So I'd say give it a shot. It's a really nicely made product with a really cool presentation package, and something I would highly, highly recommend. Alright, so that was my review of the new DUS aluminum slim can from DUS. Let me know down in the comment section below if you've tried this, and if you like it, if you don't like the quirks about it, or if you prefer the Ice Tool can, for example. Let me know, guys. I think for the money, it's a really cool beater can, something you could throw into a pocket, use it at work really rough, and not have to worry about it. It's really, really cool. So anyway, guys, if you want to stay connected in the world of Swedish snus, be sure to check out none other than SnusCENTRAL.org for the latest articles my friend Larry Waters wrote, and the goldmine of information that's found over there on that site. It's well worth it, guys, for sure. Also, don't forget to give us a like and a follow on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected with some quick hits along the day in the world of Swedish snus. That's my review on this guy, and I'll see you later. You guys know the drill. Until next time, enjoy good snus. See you later.